With an enchanting old town idiosyncratically tucked into the ruins of an ancient Roman palace, Split is one of the jewels of Croatia's glittering Adriatic coast. Croatia's second-largest city is also a great base for day trips to some of the most spectacular and intriguing castles, national parks, towns and islands in northern Dalmatia. 1. Trogir. Just along the coast from Split's UNESCO-recognized Diocletian's Palace is another wonderful World Heritage Site, Trogir, which received its status thanks to its extraordinarily well-preserved Romanesque and Renaissance architecture in a unique and beautiful location. The old town sits on a small island, separated by narrow channels from the mainland on one side and the larger Chovo Island on the other. The old town is surrounded by imposing fortifications, leafy gardens and seafront promenades. It has a laid-back vibe, and is a lovely place to while away a few hours, either wandering through the narrow marble-paved streets, or sitting in a seafront café watching the world go by. The town's showpiece is St. Lawrence's Cathedral, which has some incredibly ornate and beautiful carvings around the door and in the chapel of St. Ivan. The views from the tower are worth the thigh-busting climb. How to get to Trogir. Trogir is about 40 minutes drive west along the coast from Split, near the airport. There's a direct intercity bus, or in summer you can catch the shuttle boat run by Bura Line. 2. Omiš. The legendary pirate's lair of Omiš has a dramatic location at the mouth of the Cetina River, where freshwater carves its way through towering limestone cliffs to reach the Adriatic Sea. In the Middle Ages, pirates based here terrorized the surrounding coastal and island communities. They used a special type of ship called a sagitta, which was super fast but had a very shallow keel, allowing it to withdraw past the underwater fortifications in the Cetina River that kept other larger ships out at sea. The pirates constructed two medieval fortresses high above the town to protect it from attackers, and both can be visited, if your legs can take the climb. It's also well worth taking an excursion up the Cetina River. The most sedate option is a river cruise, stopping off in a riverside restaurant on the way to sample local specialties such as frogs, eels and snails. To get the adrenaline pumping, sign up for whitewater rafting on the rapids a little further upstream. You'll paddle your way through the turquoise waters of the river as they carve a channel through a lush valley, with tall mountains on either side. Another exciting way to enjoy the spectacular scenery is shooting down a zipline. 8 wires of varying length and steepness zigzag through the canyon, crossing the river several times on the way. How to get to Omiš. Omiš is a 40-minute drive east of Split. City Bus 60 heads there every half hour. 3. Solta. Often overlooked by tourists in favor of its more famous neighbors, the small, bucolic island of Solta is ideal for anyone who wants to get away from it all. The island's most attractive settlements are the seaside towns of Maslinica and Stomorska, which sit around pretty harbors at opposite ends of the island. Maslinica is the ritzier of the two, with a yacht marina and a luxurious hotel in a restored castle. Stomorska, the island's oldest coastal settlement, has more of a traditional vibe, and is a great place to eat a simple yet delicious lunch of grilled fish and vegetables right by the sea. Inland, the villages are less polished but no less charming, with cobbled streets and shuttered stone cottages, some of which have seen better days. This is a great opportunity to sample the island's local produce. Bee and honey lovers will enjoy a visit to Tvrdic Honey in Grohote. Top-quality olive oil is available at Olinthia in Gornje Selo, and, also in Gornje Selo, Kastellanak offers tastings of its traditional dark red and innovative rose Dobriček wines. How to get to Solta. There are several ferries and catamarans each day from Split to the port of Ragats. From there you can explore the island by bus, bicycle or even on foot. 4. Krka National Park. Extending along the 73 km Krka River, Krka National Park runs from the Adriatic near Šibenik inland to the mountains of the Croatian interior. It's a magical place of waterfalls and gorges, with the river gushing through a karstic canyon 200 meters deep. The highlight of the park is an hour-long loop following boardwalks that connect islands in the Emerald Green River, ending at the park's largest waterfall, Skradinsky Buck. The 800-m-long cascade descends by almost 46 meters before crashing into the lower lake. Further north, the waterfalls of Roski Slap are best visited on a boat tour. They begin with shallow steps that continue in a series of branches and islets to become 23-m high cascades. The area's remoteness attracted monks who constructed their monasteries here. Krka Monastery, occupying a peaceful position above the river, is the most important site of the Serbian Orthodox faith. Visit mid-June to mid-October to have a national park guide show you around the Byzantine and Mediterranean architecture. At other times you're welcome to visit the church and wander the lakeside path. How to get to Krka National Park. The park has 5 main entrances, at Skradin, Lozovac, Roski Slap, Krka Monastery and Burnham, all are accessible by car. It's about a 1-hour drive from Split. 5. Klis Fortress, just 7 miles, 12 kilometers, from the city center. Klis Fortress is the perfect day excursion from Split, combining an atmospheric and historic castle with impressive views over the Dalmatian coastline. The fortress is spectacularly located high on a ridge, defending the valley that leads to Split. Cobbled ramps and walls zigzag up the hillside, with the castle's towers and ramparts piled precipitously on top. The most dramatic event in the fortress's history happened in 1537, when Ottoman invaders captured it from local defenders and mounted their captain's severed head on a spike. In 2017, its claim to fame was as a Game of Thrones filming location. The terraces and ramparts stood in for the city of Meereen when Daenerys vengefully crucified the city's slave masters. Exploring the ruined castle is great fun, and there are exhibitions of historic armor and weapons in the armory, and Game of Thrones filming stills in the artillery barracks. The fortress is a good spot for a picnic too. You can admire the views of Split and the surrounding islands, whilst gentle breezes keep you delightfully cool. Alternatively, head to the village of Klis Grow, just below the castle, which is famous for its spit roast lamb, which is sold by the kilo and eaten with spring onions. How to get to Klis Fortress. Klis Fortress is a 30-minute drive inland from Split. You can catch a local bus from the city center, or visit on a guided tour. 6. Hvar. With historic architecture, gorgeous swimming spots and lively nightlife, the beautiful island of Hvar is one of Croatia's most popular destinations in its own right. Though it's worth staying here at least a night or two if you can, it's also possible to visit Hvar as a day trip from Split. You'll want to get the fast catamaran direct to Hvar town, the island's largest and most charming settlement. For a picture-perfect view of the terracotta-roofed white buildings clustered attractively around the square harbor, climb up to the ramparts of the medieval castle that looms high above the town. Then take a wander through the atmospheric streets of the old town, stopping to try the island's delicious traditional fish stew, Varska Gragata, at one of the harborside restaurants. If you can tear yourself away from the pretty town, there are plenty of great ways to spend the rest of your day. Stroll along the seafront promenade to find yourself a great spot to swim in the crystal-clear waters of the Adriatic, or take a taxi boat out to one of the Pekleni Islands that lie just off the coast. If you fancy something more active, an adventure offers half-day kayaking, cycling and rock climbing tours. Alternatively, to get a feel for the less visited interior of the island, take a jeep safari through abandoned villages and lavender fields to the island's highest point, where you can enjoy panoramic views of the whole island. How to get to Hvar. The fastest way to Hvar from Split is by catamaran, which takes just over an hour. In summer, June to September, the earliest departure from Split is at 8:30 a.m. with Yadrolinia, with the last return at 9 p.m. If you want to visit Hvar from Split in a day outside of high season, it's probably best to take an organized tour. 7. Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. This little cross-border jaunt will take you to Mostar, the largest city in Herzegovina, with a small but thoroughly enchanting old town center. Marvel at the Balkans' most celebrated bridge, which forms a majestic stone arc between medieval towers. The bridge's swooping arch was originally built between 1557 and 1566 on the orders of Suleiman the Magnificent. The current structure is a very convincing 21st-century rebuild following the bridge's 1990s bombardment during the Civil War. It reopened in 2004 and is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site famed for its bridge divers. Stroll along the narrow Kujundzilik, where historical stone-roofed shop houses bustle joyously with trinket sellers offering inexpensive souvenirs. Beyond the cobbled lanes of the attractively restored Ottoman Quarter are whole blocks of bombed-out buildings, a poignant legacy of the 1990s conflict. The summer welcomes hordes of day trippers, so, if you're able to stay into the evening, you'll enjoy the lights of numerous Millhouse restaurants that twinkle across gushing streams at dusk. How to get to Mostar. The city is around a 2.5-hour drive from Split and involves crossing the Croatia-Bosnia border, so be sure to have your passport and visas, if relevant. There are bus services, but they can take up to 4 hours, so hiring a car is a better option.